And information, 1600 AM, 99.7 FM, WIDU1600.com. We are WIDU Fayetteville. We do radio. Follow us on Facebook at WIDU 1600 AM.
NCN News, I'm Bruce Farrell. Wayne County Sheriff Larry Pierce gave an update today on the shooting that killed one deputy and injured two others on Monday. Investigators said the suspect in the case died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Pierce said deputies were trying to serve involuntary commitment papers on 23-year-old Jordan Hamilton.
Mental health is something that all sheriff's offices as well as all law enforcement and first responders deal with on a daily basis. It's something that we realize that has to be dealt with, but on the other hand, it is a problem, particularly in our detention centers right now.
Pierce said that his deputies had nothing to indicate that a man they were serving an involuntary commitment order would become hostile. The death toll in eastern Kentucky remains at 37 from last week's deadly flooding, with the government now raising concerns about dangerous heat in areas without electricity. Here's Julie Walker.
Temperatures are expected in the 90s, and Governor Andy Beshear is warning people.
We've already lost at least 37 Kentuckians. We don't want to lose any to what is going to be vicious heat.
The National Guard is distributing thousands of cases of water. Meanwhile, Beshear says the rebuilding process is going to be a real challenge.
Imagine scratching and clawing for 10, 15 years to be able to have something you call a home. But it's not insured, and it's wiped out, as is every other thing that you own.
He says the cost of flood insurance was too expensive for most. I'm Julie Walker.
U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi concluding her visit to Taiwan with a pledge that the American commitment to democracy on the self-governing island and elsewhere remains ironclad. Pelosi was the first U.S. speaker to visit the island in more than 25 years. State investigation finding hundreds of tons of a potentially explosive fertilizer ingredient was improperly stored at a Winston-Salem plant when it was destroyed by a fire that burned for days earlier this year. You are listening to NCN News.
Good evening. Tonight's forecast, partly cloudy, low temperatures dip into the low to mid 70s tonight, heating back up into the low to mid 90s tomorrow. Partly cloudy skies return, along with a chance for some summertime thunderstorms. These storms will be hit or miss in nature. Friday, partly cloudy with again a chance of a summertime storm popping up late in the day. High temperatures in the low to mid 90s. I'm meteorologist Kat Campbell in the Weather Center.
It's like you're looking through a telescope. You see where you're gonna be. They see. Can't be mad at the things you've been through, cause they built your muscle. Now you're stronger than you've ever been. They can't stop your hustle. Your faith ain't never small. That's what brought you this far. Yeah. See, you got your dreams and you got your prayers and you got your God. He gon' take you there. See, everybody has a season, and I believe this one's yours, cause you've been working. Inspire divine unity. We're knowledge-based. We're issue-driven. We're your station of inspiration and information. WIDU 1600, WIDU 99.7 FM, and the We Do Radio Network. It's now time for the radio talk show, A Nation of Sisters, with executive producer and hostess, the beautiful, the awesome, the wonderful one, Miss Tammy Thurman. Today's topic of talk, all the single ladies. Let us tune in, let us enjoy, like, share, comment, spread the goodness of A Nation of Sisters radio talk show on WIDU and the We Do Radio Network. Your hostess of the hour, Miss Tammy Thurman.
All right. It is Wednesday afternoon, guys. The very first Wednesday of the month. And we need for everybody to stand up and know that you are so amazing. To all my single ladies, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And so you are so amazing. It is your girl, Tammy Thurman. with A Nation of Sisters. Thank you guys so much for rocking with me for these past 2 years now, and I'm so happy that you're with us today. Guys, if you are listening via the radio 99.7 FM or 1600 AM and you want to see these beautiful women that I have got in store for you today, I want you to go to WIDU 1600 AM. That is WIDU 1600 AM on Facebook, because we are live on the air. And I'm telling you, Miss Joyce Holland and my cousin Denise Thurman is in the building.
Hey.
What's up, girls?
Hey.
Nothing.
How's everything going?
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yes, a wonderful summer.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
What
it
have y'all
has
been
been.
doing so far? Tell me something huge that you've been doing.
Well, I tend to spend my summer traveling, so I've been to Las Vegas, and I did a bucket list item. We did the helicopter.
Hold up, when you
over-
went to Las Vegas? Oh, that's right, you did go to Las Vegas and left me here. Okay.
Yes, I went to Las Vegas. We did the helicopter over the Grand Canyon and the Skywalk.
Oh,
and
my God.
all of that good stuff, and some other stuff. Caught a couple of shows. So
Yep.
bucket list items. Had a good time there. I just got back from Austin, Texas, celebrating one of my good friends' anniversary, and surprise, she's having a baby. And so it was
Aw.
a gender reveal. She
Aw.
surprised us. So just got back from doing that.
Yeah.
And so it's been good so far. A couple of other things too.
And so, and Denise is an educator, right? She is a teacher, school teacher, and she has been in the system now 15?
17.
17
Yes,
years.
17.
Wow.
That's
That's awesome.
That is
Yeah.
crazy. I
Oh,
can't
you
even believe it.
deserved all summer break.
Yeah, the whole summer, every second of it.
Yes.
Yes.
Miss Joyce, what's going on with you and your singleness? What's going on?
Well, like Denise, I've been gone all of July.
Yeah,
Yeah.
celebrating your birthday.
My birthday.
That's
yeah.
right.
At the beginning of the month, I was like, "It's my birthday month." My birthday's on. It is September. September, July, September. I mean, July 17th. I'm gonna get it right. I'm gonna get it right.
September.
Yeah, it's July 17th, but I'm one of those that like to celebrate it the whole summer. I mean, the whole month. And so the beginning of the month, I was like, y'all,
Yeah,
I'm getting ready to celebrate the whole month.
that's right. That's right.
And I did, but I'm gonna tell you what, I was so glad when August the 1st hit. I was so tired.
And so, everybody that's listening, I hope that you can hear us clear. We may be having some minor technical issues here, but we're going to get all of that straight right now. But guys, I wanted to start that with them because I knew that they had been traveling. And so that's kind of the direction that we're going to go into, because for so long, single women, whether you're saved, whether you're in the church, whether you're not, we are finding ourselves that we are kind of flowing right into the mix and fitting right in with married people. And that shouldn't be. We are single, we are whole, and we have a lot to do. We have a lot to get accomplished. And so I wanted to start there. But let's do this. So I want the listeners and the viewers just to know a little bit about you. So just give them a little bit about who you are, and let's talk. Go ahead, Denise.
Oh, so I get to go first. Okay. Well, my name is Denise Thurman, and I am from Dunn and Irwin, North Carolina. I have to say both, because I'm a Dunn girl, but I do live in Irwin,
Yep.
so I have to say both. But I am a proud Bronco, and I teach in Dunn. And for the last 17 years, the better part of that time period, I teach middle school, so I get them at a very interesting age in life. And that would sum it up. I am a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Omega Kappa Omega Chapter in Bowies Creek, North Carolina. So shout out to Omega Kappa Omega as well, because I know some of them are with us today.
All right. Shout out to the AKAs.
Yes.
Awesome. Miss Joyce.
I am friends are joining in, so I definitely have to shout out Kingsley. But I've been here in Fayetteville for 25 years.
25?
Oh, wow.
25 years I've been here.
Now, guys, she said she's from Kingstree. I know some of you couldn't hear what she said, but she's from Kingstree, South Carolina.
Yes.
And she went to South Carolina State.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And she moved up here from South Carolina. No, you went to Connecticut, right?
No, I was born in Connecticut.
Okay.
Yeah, I was born in Connecticut, and we lived there until I was like 10 or 11, and then we moved to South Carolina.
Okay.
And gosh, when I got grown and out of college, I moved here to Fayetteville. And like I said, I've been here for 25 years. I am medically retired from Goodyear.
Now, she is not a survivor. I'm waiting for her to tell this, guy. She ain't no survivor. She overcame. But I need for her to tell what's going on. I need her to tell what happened.
So I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, which is a form of bone cancer, blood cancer, in 2013. And I've been in complete remission since 2014. All praises, oh gosh, belong to God on that. Lord knows. Because, it's something when a doctor gives you a clock, but God says, I have the clock. Don't listen to them. I know what I'm doing, and all things work together for your good, and they truly do. And I just thank God for that. And that's me.
All right. Guys, these are some amazing women who are living the single life, and they are here to talk about it. We are here to talk about it today. Now, before we actually dive right into the conversation, I do want to give a shout out to all of my cousins that are in Charlotte. We lost one of our matriarchs this week, and my auntie, she's really my cousin, but because of the age difference, we call her, that's my auntie, Aunt Rosalind. She passed away, and I know that, she has gone on to be with the Lord. It was unexpected, completely unexpected. So I want to dedicate this show to her life and her memory on today. And so with that, there's no tears, no crying, none of that. We are all good. And so I just want her to know, and I know she's listening. She's listening because this show came from God, and just want to let her know that I love her. I had a chance, God gave me that opportunity a couple of months ago to talk to her, get some advice, and I hadn't talked to her in a couple of years, and just out of the blue, something came over me to call her, and I did, not knowing that, that would be the last time that I talked to her. And my cousin Denise is here, and she can definitely identify with that. But shout out to Aunt Rosalind. I love you. And so let's move on. Guys, I was actually watching Tamron Hall show last week, and there was a lady on there by the name of Toni Tone. And she has a book out that's called I Wish I Knew This Earlier. And so I'm not a reader. I promise you, I am not a reader. But listening to her talk, I said, wow, I wonder if she's got some really good nuggets. And so I started going through her book, and it's really, I definitely would suggest that you guys check this book out. I Wish I Knew This Earlier, Lessons on Love by Toni Tone. That is her name. And she has 3 sections of the book. It starts with the dating stage, the loving stage, and then she also talks about the healing stage. Because a lot of times when we get into a relationship, and I've had this told to me before by a man that I was dating, and I really didn't know I was doing it. I wasn't aware that I was doing it, but he said, you know what, you're sabotaging the relationship because you feel like it's not going to go the direction that you want it to go into. So you are, and you don't even consciously know that you are sabotaging the relationship so that you can be free of it instead of dealing with what you need to deal with. And when he said that, I was like, no, I'm not sabotaging. I just don't. Or, I'm just not going to do something. I'm just not going to do it. And, but listening, knowing what he said now, I wish I would have known then.
Wow.
And when he said that, it was just like so many bells and whistles went off, because I have found myself now, I'm 49 years old, and I have not dated as much as I would have liked to. And so I'm in the church, right? I'm a minister. I'm an elder at my church, and, growing up in the church as from a child, and then as a grown woman, having my own personal experience and my own personal relationship with God, and doing things the way that I think or I feel like they should be done, right? Will kind of guide you in a direction, whether it's the right one or whether it's the wrong one. I just always pray and hope that I'm in the best direction, if that makes sense. So I want to talk about dating. I really want to talk about dating, and because I know we got some listeners out there that are really wanting to hear about this. I want to talk about dating because the Bible really does not have a lot of information on dating, right? It doesn't really, because most of the people in the Bible, they, from the time that they're like 14, 15, 16 years old, they leave dad's house, mom's house, and they go right into their husband's house. There's no pretty much in between time. And for the few scriptures that it does talk about it, they are in preparation, right? They're in preparation. So, do we continue to try to follow that pattern, or do we say, we're in 2022, I'm saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, I'm saved, or what have you, and I let the Holy Ghost lead me and guide me into what I should do, what I shouldn't do. How are we handling that? How are we handling that, ladies?
I think that I think you're right. Definitely the Bible does not speak to dating. All I ever get was it's better to marry than to burn.
Yep. There's very few scriptures.
There's because it wasn't a reality of the time period. As you said, they lived differently. You left your father's house and you went to your husband's house, and those sorts of things. And I think that with that being the case, there are lots of things in the Bible that reflect the culture and the time period that it was when it was written. That being said, it doesn't mean that we have to that we say, okay, well, that doesn't count. What you have to look at is what's the true spirit of the, for lack of a better term, the law or the rule. What is it that, when you look at it and you read the scripture and you're trying to figure out which way do I go, what is it that God would have for me? Because what God has for Denise is not the same thing that he has for Tammy or for Joyce. And how I approach dating or anything else in life, has to be guided by God and what God would have for my life. But, certainly as you sit there and read what Paul wrote to the whoever he wrote it to, Corinthians, the Thessalonians, or whoever else he was writing to. As you do that, you have to, you gotta, they didn't have the internet, they didn't have social media, they didn't have Tinder, they didn't have Black People Meet, they didn't have
ChristianMingles.com.
Exactly.
Didn't have none of that.
None of that existed,
And they didn't have that the Fox Club either.
Oh, no, they did not. Now, they didn't have that.
Okay, I digress. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Any Fox Club members listening now?
Tap tap in. If you are
Tap
a member
in.
of the Silver Fox,
The Silver Fox Club.
tap in, please. Let me tell you. Okay, but yeah. So anyway, to answer your question as far as my views on that is just simply just like with anything else. You have to find your way. You have to be sensitive to the Spirit.
Yes.
Be sensitive to what God has for you and what you believe that He wants you to do. Is it to say that we might not always get it right? Certainly, we may make a misstep because sometimes the Lord is talking, but we're not listening, and we're still in the flesh doing what we want to do, and that's certainly to be considered. You got to give yourself some grace to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you say something that's huge, that we've got to give ourselves grace. And that's something, and I know you're getting ready to go there, that we don't give ourselves. We
Yes.
feel like we have to cross every single T as a single person in the church, every single T and dot every single I.
Yes.
It's just like we're under a microscope, first and foremost, and then it's just like I'm 49, but oftentimes I feel like I'm 15 under a microscope, right? And not just, just in the church, but when people see you single, it's just like they go to some other place where, like I'm a child or something, or like I'm just this little piece of glass is going to break, little porcelain glass is going to break. But what I've learned is that we ourselves first have to give ourselves grace.
Yeah.
And we, for so long, have expected everybody else to do it. But no, we got to start. So I appreciate that. Joyce?
Tagging on to what you said about grace, grace is something, like you said, that we don't give ourselves because it's hard for us to forgive ourselves. It's easy for me to forgive Denise and Tammy, but with me, it's so hard, to forgive myself, and that's something that we really do have to, work on, because even if, just say we're not single, we're married. Guess what? We're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
So we have to forgive ourselves then.
Yeah.
So why not forgive ourselves when, and I'm not saying go out there, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying go out there and,
just,
have sex with every man, every Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But in life, you're going to make mistakes. Point blank, period. And we have to learn to forgive ourselves. We're our own worst critics.
Yeah.
That is so true.
In the scripture, I was talking to somebody, the scripture says that surely, that means it's a guarantee, surely grace and mercy will follow me all the days, not some of my days, all of my days of my life. So that means as long as I'm alive, it is a guarantee.
You better say
that
it.
grace and mercy is right there with me. And because of that, just hold on to it and grab it for yourself, because I need some mercy. And you said something too that's also so amazing, that we feel like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, and get prepared. I gotta be perfect. I gotta be this.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen. You're never going to be perfect. It's never going to be that perfect will. It's never going to be that oh, I got it together and now I'm ready.
Yeah, nah.
It's not.
No.
It's not.
Not at all.
And I want single women to hear that today. Don't think that you are going to have everything together. You're not. Because there are mistakes that are going to happen. And why do mistakes happen? Because we're still human. We still have to learn each other. We have to live with each other. We have to figure each other out. And when you get married, then, that's the time.
That's another element.
That's a whole nother element.
Two people trying to become one.
Yeah. Right.
You know, so he may have his flaws and I may have my flaws, but guess what? We have to come together to be one.
Yep.
Okay, you might not wash the dishes like I want you to wash the dishes. You might not take out the trash like I want you to take out the trash. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you still have to come together. You still have to forgive.
Yep. You got to forgive.
Give grace.
Yep.
Absolutely.
You know. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. How are you going to get grace if you don't give it?
And you know, when you said about, you know, learning how to even do that, because we are so much harder on ourselves than we are, you know, on other people. And I always think my daddy is the person who I always think of, because as I work with children, and there have been times where I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to buy the children cupcakes because they did this thing well, or they, you know, as a reward. And I have 4 different classes. And so I remember one time saying, well, I'm going to get first and second something, but third, no. They do not behave. They did not meet the goal. They did not, you know, and my daddy, you know, has a quiet way about him. And he said, well, they're children and they're not going to always get it right. And wouldn't you want someone to offer you grace? And I always think about that in certain situations. And it's kind of what guides that even with myself when I'm worried about this thing or that thing, or upset with myself because I fumbled something or whatever be the case. You know, just stopping to take that minute and say, you know what, okay, it's okay. It'll be fine. Let's go. Let's see what we can do to regroup. Let's see how we can go back, take another approach. And that's the same thing even in relationships, with whether dating relationships or even once you get married, you know, having that moment to step back and say, okay, you know what, we didn't do this one quite right. Let's back it up. Let's see how we can reapproach the situation.
So when we are in the dating stage, are we dating just to date? Are we dating with purpose? Do we even know what we're looking for? And is it okay for you to look for? Should somebody tell you, oh, this is the type of person you really need, you know, because you are such and such and such, and you are this and da-da-da. So, you know, you need this strong man. You need, you know, you need this and need that. Is it okay for us to know what we want?
Absolutely.
I believe so,
Now,
yeah.
that is so powerful. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Is it okay for us to know what we want
Yes.
and want what we want?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Why? Why is that okay?
Because it is. Okay, so you can't tell me, okay, Joyce, Harry's for you, because I just see, you know, Harry does this, that, or the third, and I'm looking at Larry, and I'm like, well, I like Larry, you know. So who lives with him? Who's going to have to love
right.
him, and who is he going to have to love?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I agree with
So,
that, because
yeah.
it's your heart's desire.
Yes.
Right.
My heart's desire, and God said he will honor my heart's desire. So if I want, you know, what I want, that's just what I want. So before you start dating, are you already looking at what you want, or are you just trying to get a feel for being around the opposite sex? Because we're always around our girlfriends, we're always around our cousins, but we're, you know, when are we around the opposite sex if that's your goal, to be married? You can't be around women all the time. Yes, I said it, and I know I'm going to get a whole bunch of people inboxing me, but stop telling your single members of your church to be going out with their girlfriends and going out with the sisters all the time. Some people want to be married, and they need that relationship. They need that experience with a man. They need it.
I mean,
Oh, I'm about to get some pushback on that. I already see it. I'm going to get some pushback, but I don't care. I'm the one living this life.
I'm blessed to have a large circle of female friends. So
Yeah.
many women say, "Oh, I don't have any friends," but I have friends that have been with me for 20 years, 30 years, from 8th grade, 2nd grade, and we're still doing it. We're still good friends. And I love them. I love them dearly. But now they all will let you know that I have no intention or desire to be sitting up looking in women's face all the time.
I'm not
I
going to do
enjoy
it.
the company of a gentleman.
That's right.
And that's period. That's it. That's all. Civil Sciences
I
tap in.
remember-
I'm going to get
told
so much
Tammy-
pushback. I already see it.
I remember telling Tammy one time.
This is taboo.
I remember telling Tammy one time, I am tired of listening to female voices. I want somebody to say, "Hey, how you doing?"
Talk to me.
Hello there.
Exactly.
Yes.
I need to hear a deep voice.
Right.
And it's just like Erica Campbell, and I'm really a huge fan of Erica Campbell, and she is so real, and she talks about intimacy. She talks about the woman and how we, embrace ourselves and embrace our curves and embrace who we are. Because if we don't, then how do we expect somebody of the opposite sex to appreciate and celebrate who we are? I want to be celebrated. Guys, you are listening to A Nation of Sisters. We are getting intimate conversations. We will be right back after this message.
Cause they built your muscle. Now you're stronger than you've ever been. They can't stop your hustle. Your faith ain't never small. That's what brought you this far. See, you got your dreams and you got your prayers and you got your God. He gon' take you there. See, everybody has a season, and I believe this one's yours. Cause you've been working, waiting. This what you've been praying for.
A seasonal August forecast ahead for central North Carolina. Tonight, partly cloudy, low temperatures dip into the low to mid 70s, heating back up into the low to mid 90s Thursday. Partly cloudy with scattered summertime thunderstorms returning to the forecast, mainly during the afternoon and evening. It's a repeat forecast for Friday, partly cloudy, high temperatures in the low to mid 90s with a chance of a thunderstorm, mainly late. I'm meteorologist Kat Campbell in the Weather Center.
One Wayne County deputy out of the hospital. This after another deputy died after Monday's standoff. A third deputy remains in the hospital. One person is dead after an overnight shooting in Kernersville happened at a manufacturing facility. The suspect and victim known to each other, deputies confirming it was not a random incident. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones says he now understands it was irresponsible of him to declare the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre a hoax, testifying in his own defense in a civil trial to determine how much he owes for defaming the parents of one of the children who were killed at Sandy Hook. Dow up today, 416 to 32,812. S&P adds 68 to 4,155, while the Nasdaq was up 319 to 12,668. The NFL will appeal the disciplinary officer's decision to suspend Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson for 6 games for violating the league's personal conduct policy. The move allows for a possible stiffer penalty to be imposed. Bruce Farrell, NCN News.
A seasonal August forecast ahead for central North Carolina. Tonight, partly cloudy, low temperatures dip into the low to mid 70s, heating back up into the low to mid 90s Thursday. Partly cloudy with scattered summertime thunderstorms returning to the forecast, mainly during the afternoon and evening. It's a repeat forecast for Friday, partly cloudy, high temperatures in the low to mid 90s with a chance of a thunderstorm, mainly late. I'm meteorologist Kat Campbell in the Weather Center.
Put your hands up in the club. You just broke up. I'm doing my own little thing. You decided to dip, and now you want a trip. Cause another brother noticed me. I'm up on him, he up on me. Don't pay him any attention. Kept crying my tears. 3 good years, you can't be mad at me. Cause if you like it, then you should've put a ring on it.
Welcome back. We're your station of inspiration and information, WIDU, the We Do Radio Network. We're now presenting to you the second half segment, radio talk show, A Nation of Sisters. Topic of talk today, all the single ladies. Now, here's your host, executive producer, Miss Tammy Thurman.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Tammy Thurman with the Nation of Sisters. I am so excited today. We have our segment today talking to two of my favorite single ladies, Miss Joyce Holland and Miss Denise Thurman. Guys, we are already into an amazing conversation. But let me ask you this. If you are not on Facebook Live right now. Please go to WIDU 1600 AM on Facebook. I am going to be taking questions live and comments, or go to A Nation of Sisters on Facebook. We are live there as well. I'm going to be taking questions there. Guys, we started out with some amazing conversation, but I did want to let everybody know that there's an amazing book that has some great nuggets that's called I Wish I Knew This Earlier, Lessons on Love by Toni Tone. And we right now are talking about dating, single people dating, right? And in her book, she says dating isn't something that is taught to us formally. And many of us have learned how to date from watching television, speaking to friends, or simply just figuring it out as we go along. And that is so true. We're trying to just figure it out as we go along. But what I think, too, is important to know that, we have Christ on the inside, and he is one of the most amazing GPS systems that have ever been created.
Come on.
And so he will not lead us or guide us into any wrong places or any wrong areas. So I lean on Jesus. I trust in Jesus to do exactly what he said he's going to do, right? So let's jump right back in. I see, let's see, who's on there? Marie and Cookie, thanks for joining in. Shell's Queen, I see you. Thank you so much for joining in today.
That's my girl.
Thanks for joining us today. So, dating, let's get back into it. When is it right? When is it right to date?
Oh, may I jump in?
You may. And if we don't want to jump in there, we can jump in somewhere else. Go ahead.
Absolutely. When is it right to date? There's anytime. But the biggest thing to that is when you're ready.
Yes.
And I certainly think if you take some time with yourself, you know that there are certain times and spaces that to bring another person, to bring more a different energy into your space, your mental space, it's not the time to do so. Now, sometimes people aren't sensitive to that, and I think that's sometimes the beginning of disastrous relationships when people are dating and they knew that they weren't mentally, at the very least, ready with healthy energy and having a healthy view and perspective about life and themselves. I kind of wanted to use the book, I Wish I Knew This Earlier. And it's very true. Nobody taught us how to date. If anything, they told us you can't date until later, and they didn't give any instructions. And I think that that's one of the things, of course, our parents and grandparents, they always, of course, do the best that they can and the best that they know how. But they didn't teach us how to date. They didn't give us, in my opinion, realistic goal posts or what have you in terms of saying, well, what is it that you look for when you're looking for a man? They gave us a list of superficialities in many instances, things that, he need to be tall, he need to be 6'3". Yeah, I like him tall, dark, and handsome, don't get me wrong, but don't block your blessing when it ain't 6'3", or when he's a little bit lighter than the chocolate one that you thought you wanted, or vice versa. Whatever it is, whatever it is that you thought you liked. This idea of having a type or what have you, we get caught up in that, and you probably can miss out on a nice guy or vice versa, a nice young lady when you're dating if you're stuck on the wrong thing. And I think that's the problem. The messages that we've been given have focused on a lot of the wrong things. Now, I'm not saying it's not nice to have what you like to look at, and those sorts of things. But there's so many more things that are so much more important when you're talking about dating and having a successful relationship with someone, that you just can't simply get caught up in the very specifics of, well, I like what I like and I want what I want, because, well, what does God want you to have? Because just because you want it doesn't mean that that's what he has for you. What you may want may not be what is it? Everything that's good to you ain't good for you.
Ah.
So,
So we got a comment from Facebook that's saying, absolutely, if you are fragile, if you are in a fragile state, that may not be the time to date. And that is so true. If you are in a fragile state, don't go trying to mess somebody else's life up. Don't do it. Don't do it. Someone else is saying culturally it is different, and black people are at a somewhat disadvantage due to not being taught to date. Sometimes we forget, right? We forget some of the most basic things in life. We know how to, we're taught, how to handle money, what we need to do with our money. We're taught how to self-care, right? But sometimes people just assume that you're going to automatically know what to do, when to do it. And I'll give you an example. I was talking to a young man, right? I was talking to a young man. He's not important enough, though, for me to bring him to my daddy. So that we need to talk about that, too. Because my dad already told me, he said, don't be bringing any and everybody over here to me. He said, because I don't want to meet. He said, when you find the one, that's when you bring him over. He said, but until then, he said, don't be coming over here to a whole bunch of different men.
Right.
And that's so true. But I was having a conversation, and me, I think, I'm the be-all, right? I know everything. I know how to handle a conversation. I know how to initiate one. I know how to flow in one. And the gentleman asked me something, and then he made a comment after he asked me, and I caught myself because I didn't know how to answer what he has said. And I was like, I've never been in this place before. This is very uncomfortable for me, but I've never been in this place before. And so then I started questioning myself. Did I jump out too soon? Was I not ready? But you know what? I was ready. Things are going to happen like that. I can't keep holding myself back thinking, this week, all of this is on my list to get right. And then next week, all of this is on my list to get right. No. What God has already given you everything you need, spiritually and natural. He's already given you everything you need, and it's time. It's going to come a time where the thing that you need is experience. What I will say this: don't jump out. Just like the viewer said, don't jump out if you're not ready.
Yeah.
Right. If you're not emotionally ready, because you'll get hurt. Your feelings will get hurt. You'll be all in your emotions, and then that'll start flowing over to other things, and you don't want that. So what do you say about being ready to date and versus just dating?
Being ready to date. I mean, just like Denise said.
Because I'm saying being ready to date means I'm dating with purpose.
Yeah.
So let me pull that back. Being ready to date for me says I'm dating with purpose. Just dating. I'm just dating. I'm just out here having fun. Nothing serious. I'm not at no high expectations or anything like that. But being ready, yeah, I'm dating with purpose.
So you just said it. when you have that mindset to say, okay, I'm ready. I'm looking for him. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not out here, like you said. I'm not out here for movies and popcorn. I'm looking for him, but you have to know what you're looking for.
Yeah. So are you dating with the expectations that he's going to come in the mail, delivered, UPS box, perfect, right on my doorstep?
I wish.
Yeah.
Nah.
How are we dating? What are our expectations? What should our expectations be? And I think I can't answer that for both of you. Like you said earlier, you got to know that for yourself. Yeah. What are your expectations in who you want to spend the rest of your life with? Who you want heaven to come down and say, bam, it's stamped. My approval, stamped with approval.
Denzel. No, I'm only playing.
I'm
only playing Paula. But for me, I want my life mate. Well, it's not even a want. He has to first and foremost love God, because I feel like if he loves God, then he's going to love me the way I need to be loved, the way God would have me to be loved, the way God would have him to love me and me love him, first and foremost. Secondly, I want him to be established. And when I'm saying established, I'm not saying he has to have a $500,000 house.
Why not?
I'm not saying that's what he has to have.
It'd be nice, though.
Yeah, now.
Absolutely.
It would be nice, honey. But I'm trying to figure out how to say this. He doesn't necessarily have to have that. When I say established, he needs to at least have a house, have a bank account, preferably a little bit more than mine.
I would think he would have just a bit more.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh gosh. And he would have to know how to treat me.
So
as someone once said, to really know someone is to get them really mad.
I heard that.
And to see what they look like mad. And you know what I'm saying? Because we can smile all day and I can be so sweet and loving, but I want to see you mad, and I want you to see me mad.
Yeah.
Because you might not be able to take this whirlwind.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I might not be able to take you. So we need to at least get mad.
So let me ask you, is it fair for you to want a man to love you the way you want to be loved? Or is it fair for him to love you the best way he can love you?
So I think we got to find some common ground on that.
Yeah.
I think if you love me, then you will find a way to marry the best that you can do with meeting the needs that I have, just the same as I would for you. So I think that is to say, if a man is loving you the best way he knows how, but he's missing the marks on in some places, simply because, and most of the time, honestly, y'all, it's just about paying attention, listening. Are you listening to what I said to you?
Yes.
And responding, in that way. One of the things that one of my best friends, Regina, always says, if you see a need, feel a need. If I have to, quote unquote, tell you or ask you to do every little thing that I know you saw needed doing too, why did I have to ask you to do that? Part of my love language is making sure that the job gets done. If you can take something off of my plate without me having to constantly coordinate and those sorts of things, then all right now.
Yeah.
You might have my attention. And so finding the ways to listen when I say, I need this thing or I need that thing. I have days where I'm an overthinker, and that can transfer to something as simple as, what do you want to eat? I might be able to tell you what I don't want, but I can't necessarily tell you what I do want. And I'm tired, and honestly, the truth is, I just want you to come pick me up, take me somewhere, and I'll figure out something to eat off the menu. Just don't take me anywhere where there's a bunch of stuff I'm allergic to and that I can't pick. And so even just something as simple as that, to say, hey, just come get me, let's go, plan it. Tell me what kind of clothes I need to wear. Even my niece recently had a situation where that was the thing. She was saying, listen, I don't have time to play with you. You said you wanted to go out with me. Plan it. You don't have a plan.
Ooh.
Wow, that's good.
That's good.
And that's from a
Yeah.
young, and that's from a young woman. But but it's very real. So understanding what my needs are and doing what you can to meet that, that's doing the best you can. Doing the best you can based on your idea and your concept of what you should do or shouldn't do as it relates to your woman, your girlfriend, however you, whatever. That's not good enough.
Yeah.
You're in a relationship with me. You're not in a relationship with General Woman A. You're in a relationship with Denise.
Is it okay to tell them, no, this is not good enough?
Well, I mean,
Because
you want to
some
choose your
people will get
words.
scared.
Yeah.
You want to choose your words.
Yeah, they'll get scared and feel like if I step up and I say something, I might lose him. And I don't want to lose him. But at the same time, I'm still not, there's something still in me that's wanting. I'm not satisfied. Is it okay?
Yeah, I mean,
communication is key.
Yeah, like Denise said, I mean, you can let him know, but I mean, like she said, choose your words. And there's something else she said about pay attention to my needs. I was watching a show a couple of days ago, and it was a married couple, and the wife was saying she had a car, and her one of her tires she needed a new tire. Tire was the wires were showing and stuff. She didn't ask him, she didn't say anything to him about it. He came to the house and told her that he was going to drive her car and for her to follow him, and he went and bought her a new tire. Now she never said anything about needing a tire. She never pointed it out or anything, but he saw the need and he met the need. And she was saying to herself, man, he met what I needed. He did what I needed without me having to ask. And I think that is a pivotal point. Pay attention to, and that's both ways.
Absolutely.
Pay attention to what I need. I need to pay attention to what you need.
And, you hit something, and you said something I want to hit on, because we have lived single so long that it becomes all about me. It becomes all about what I want. It becomes all about what I need. And so now you're saying, okay, I'm ready to share this space, right? I'm ready to share this space and make a brand new space with somebody else. Can we do that? Can we be out of ourselves and it not be all about us? That, we take your opinion, we take what you say, we take your advice. We may and understand that we may not know everything. What I thought was the best way may not be the best way.
I'm completely happy to have another perspective to any conversation. Clearly, there are things that I may not have thought of. I may have overlooked. Maybe there's information I don't have that you have that can help contribute to a better decision in whatever situation there may be. But to say that it is hard to get you're used to doing your own thing, you're used to thinking for self, and so it can be a challenge to think to remember that the decisions that you make, the things that you do, now that there's somebody else who actually may be impacted. So, before I put this on my calendar, let me check in with my man and see if, maybe make sure he didn't have anything that I need to be doing or that I didn't know about. So even just those small things, coming to that space, and certainly coming to a space of, where you just full speed ahead, used to doing it your way, and now you got somebody else who's saying, hey, you ever thought about, and it's like, huh? I thought about what? No, this is what we're doing. And that's the mindset that we have. But I do believe that women and men who desire to be in a relationship, married, actually are looking forward to that day that they have that other person to bounce off of, to bounce ideas off of, or to say, hey, what do you think we need to do here? I'm confused.
I like the way you just said that. that
So-
to bounce ideas off, because sometimes people think, you know, I got to compromise everything. My entire day now, I'm going to have to be making compromise after compromise, you know. And don't get me wrong, you know, we do have to compromise, but it's the way that we approach it. And I
Yeah.
love the way you just said that. Hey,
Bounce.
Boo, let me bounce this off for you and give me your thoughts on that. You know,
Yeah.
are we ready for that? Are we truly ready for that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes and amen.
Times two.
So what do we say to our young sisters who are in college? Shout out to Fayetteville State, Campbell University, Methodist University. Thank you guys for hanging out with us today. I know you guys are listening. What do we say to our young girls, to our young women who are obviously at that stage? All three of us have been there. We're still trying to find ourselves, right? Trying to find ourselves, but at the same time, we're still interested in, you know, this whole game called dating. What do we say to them? What should they do? What should they not do? Should they stay away from certain things? What's the first things that they need to do? And I'll start off because the very first thing that I know I wish I would have had when I was in college was somebody who knew a whole lot more than what I knew, and that, you know, would not judge me, because I at that time I had no desires to be saved whatsoever. I didn't want to talk about no Jesus, and I won't go into church. So don't, first of all, don't send that person, because I already know Tammy at 18, 19 years old was not going to listen. So, but I wish I would have listened to somebody who would have given me sound advice, because like I said, the whole time I'm on campus, I'm off campus, and I'm exposed. I came from high school exposed to everything from A to Z, and my mind was blown. I was like, woo, look at all these men, look at all these boys. I was just like, boys everywhere. Woo. Boys. Oh my God. But, you know, I really didn't know who I was.
Who does at 18?
Yeah.
I think there are very few
I didn't
people.
know.
There's a couple.
Yeah.
I've seen some very mature 18-year-olds and people that were ready. But honestly, I think in many ways, at least my cohort of friends, I don't think we were really ready for all of that came. But it's part of life. So it's kind of the, you know, sink or swim thing going on when you hit that. My first years in college were spent at UNC Chapel Hill. Shout out to my divas, because they are on here. And so
Shout out UNC Chapel Hill. Thanks for tuning in.
they, but you know, we hit the streets of Chapel Hill and all points beyond.
Yep.
With no GPS. I don't know how we were everywhere.
Yep.
I don't know how we traveled, because I am very reliant upon my GPS now. But we were out there. We were outside, y'all. You know, and it's, you know, truly to say, coming from Dunn into a whole big old world out there, I wasn't ready for that at all. I don't think many of us were. So I don't even, you know, I think having a mentor obviously is helpful, but you got to remember, as we've said, there's no manual to dating, if that's, you know, specifically in when you talk about relationships.
Yeah.
So they're fumbling around just almost as much as we are. They just had a couple more dates, probably.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe there is something to be gleaned from that. There's always something to learn from those who walk before you. But I think that there's certainly a space for mentorship, and I think that's something that our community in particular should look at, finding ways to incorporate more opportunities to have those conversations and to have those relationships.
And that's what this platform is all about, bringing women like you guys in, because your shoulders are strong now, and there are young girls coming up that need shoulders to stand on. And so I just want to challenge everybody and continue to challenge women, those who have been on our show and those who are going to be coming, that you have those strong shoulders that someone needs to stand on. Guys, this has been an awesome conversation. One thing I do want to say is that when like she said, when I came from came from school and went to college, I was exposed to from everything from A to Z. And I mean, it blew my mind. And I just wish somebody would have been there to, to talk to me and to kind of guide me, at least to say, look, you can do this or you can do that. So I'm just thankful. I'm thankful for God's grace and God's mercy that if it had not been for Him, oh my God, I would not be where I'm at today. Lord have mercy, and I just thank God there wasn't no Facebook when I was in college.
Thank you,
I'm
Jesus.
so thankful.
Honey.
Thank you, Lord, there was no Facebook when I was in
When I tell
college.
you, I'm so glad I dodged that bullet.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
No.
Oh my God, I'm seeing so many of my friends, Mary Bell, all the way from Florida in the house. Thank you so much for tuning in. Natalie MacArthur, Bronco Pride, thanks for tuning in, guys. Thank you all from rocking with A Nation of Sisters. We have a whole hour segment, so if you missed this segment, feel free to go to WIDU 1600. Facebook is on there live. Guys, before we go out, we've got about a minute left. What would you like? What's some motivating words that you would like to give to any single woman? And anybody can go.
Trust yourself. No one can do it better than you.
I love it. And I think somebody else sounds like they love it too. Kira.
And mine would simply go back to the concept of give yourself some grace, get out there, have fun, do not be shy, because why not? Why sit at home? There's always an opportunity to get out and do new things. And if you can find someone that's nice, that's cool, whose company you enjoy, to do those things with, certainly it is okay. Because I think particularly for women in certain walks of life or whatever, it's okay. Get out there and have a good time, girl.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Guys, you have been listening to A Nation of Sisters. It is your girl, Tammy Thurman, executive producer and host, and I am excited about today, and I'm excited about where you are going. Live your best life on purpose. Thanks, guys. God bless.
I'm doing my own little thing. You decided to dip, and now you want to trip. There's another brother